All right, if you back, you watch part one, and now you're watching part two, and I'm explaining the second half of the Clarksville Universe. I explained the first seven so far. I think it's seven. You have Lucille, um, Clarksville General, Heart of the City, Guardian Chronicles origin story, the Retribution Unit, Clarksville General, A New Heartbeat, the Guardian Chronicles origin story, the Purifiers, the Jenkins, the First Family, and Lucille to Rise of a Queen. So starting off the second half of this, we got the Panty Dropper. I explained what the Panty Dropper was and how it came to existence. So the Panty Dropper, Silent Money, is the first one, and it's basically it's a dark. It's pretty much prostitution, drugs, and the strip club life, but behind the scenes. And it's a lot of trafficking. It's really dark. Not too dark. I wrote all books so everybody with a mature mind can read. It doesn't get vulgar. It doesn't get too raunchy. But it is dark. And it, yeah, I did write it. So like I said, I wanted something different that's going on, and I wanted to keep everything real in the Clarksville universe. But you learn about Big Tony and Councilman Reed and how they came together and everything. And this is all pre-Cross Paths also, so it just explains how everything came together. This is pre-Cross Paths. After and that's going to be released, I think I said July 27, 2026, if I didn't say. After that, we have Clarksville High, First Day Back, and this is August 15, 2026. In Clarksville High, it's basically teenage drama. I wanted to do teenage drama also, just trying to appeal to a different audience. And the main character in there is Talia. Talia is Maya's daughter, and you learn that from Clarksville General. So you also are introduced to Talia and the Jenkins family, because Talia dates Veronica and Alan Jenkins' son. So she plays a key part going into 2027 also, but this is her introduction. And Clarksville High First Day Back is post Cross Paths, and it's technically the first day back, spoiler alert, after Dante's death. And another spoiler alert, like going into 2027, 2028, there has been a possibility that Dante's not dead. I don't know if I want to yet, but there are two different versions of Cross Paths 3 outlined already. In one version, Dante comes back. One version, Dante doesn't. I haven't decided yet, so I guess if that's something you want to leave in the comments, or just leave that mofo dead, just, let me know. But yeah, it's just teenage drama, kind of explaining, tell you, school drama, it's just a school teenage drama book. I think I did good on it. I tried to capture the essence of a public school in a poverty area, and I think I captured it very well. But I, love the feedback. And it explains like Talia's role and her ambitions, and she's pretty much just like her mom. Her mom's real, like Maya, works really hard, does just over excels, and Talia is looking for a relationship with her overworking mom, but at the same time she's an overachiever herself, which is pointed out by her friends, which you'll meet them. They are such a extravagant group of friends. I think I captured the essence of them very well also, so it's very funny too. Very good. Next is Unfinished. And Unfinished is going to be released September 9th, 2026. And Unfinished is about Marcus Barlow. And if you get introduced to Marcus Barlow and the Lucille Universe side of this thing, and he's the cop that's always trying to make sure he catches Lucille and her counterparts and what they're doing. And I kind of want to do a story to kind of tie up all those loose ends of Lucille 2. And that's kind of what Unfinished is. It kind of started out as the Clarksville PD version, but I had an idea to do Unfinished. Unfinished is gonna be always about a particular cop. So the plan for Unfinished 2 in 2027 is gonna be about Dwayne. So and if you read Cross Paths, Dwayne is the officer in Cross Paths. So Marcus Barlow is the officer in Lucille. So that's why he's in Unfinished. So when I do Unfinished 2, it's going to be about a particular case that Dwayne is doing, which will be revealed sometime next year. So all right. So yeah, and also Marcus and Barlow. I'm a fan of The Wire, so that's where Barlow came from, and Marcus is another person that's very close to me. So let him know if you know who I'm referring to. So Cross Paths 2, which, like I said, every year, October 23rd, there'll be a Cross Paths. So Cross Paths 2, A Storm is Coming. Spoiler alert. So if you read Lucille, you find out that Jackie has a sister. And Lucille 1 and Lucille 2, you read those, you find out that Jackie has a sister, and that even Lucille just gave up at a young age. And then she comes back and you find that out. One of the things, and Jackie is very fond of her sister, who goes by the stage name Storm. And when Jackie starts suffering from trauma, the one person that was always there for her was Storm. So she creates a protector by the name of Storm. And so that comes into play in Cross Paths 2, because Jackie is once again suffering from trauma from Cross Paths, and now her schizophrenia or bipolar is coming back up to surface, and hence the name A Storm is Coming. It's a double entendre where most people would think, oh, something bad is about to happen, which it is because it's Cross Paths, but Storm is resurfacing in Jackie's presence, and it is at the front and center right in the first chapter that you learn about Storm and how she's mentally taken over. And Storm becomes one of the main antagonists at that point in Cross Paths. So you now have, on the celestial side, you have Luke, and then in the Cross Paths universe of this thing, Jackie is going to turn out to be one of the biggest she's going to be one of the biggest antagonists in this Clarksville universe. But that's going to be released on October 23rd, 2026, which October is another double month drop, because October 31st, so 8 days later, you're going to have the Panty Dropper 2 silent expansion, which explains how Big Tony takes over and expands into multiple other business. And it kind of ties in with the Jenkins family and why him and Veronica have such a close relationship that Pastor Jenkins doesn't know about, but she has been in contact with Big Tony since the beginning. And not since the beginning, but Big Tony is smart. And that's where Big Tony was smarter than Lucille was, because Big Tony knew how to funnel money from one business to multiple other operations. And that's where I do when I explain the silent expansion. But it also opens the doors for other characters in the book that I'm working on. One of the strippers in there is named Monet. Monet is going to be another character that starts to branch out and works on other things, and she's going to be part of 2027 also. So November 27th, 2026 is when I released District of Streets. And District of Streets basically explains how Councilman Orlando gets started. So he's just going to be at that time a young alderman working on his way up, and he has dreams and aspirations. It's not working out so good. So one of the person he used as far as funded money is Big Tony. So Big Tony and Orlando are friends. They are introduced, and I explained that in the Panty Dropper 1, sorry. And Panty Dropper 1 explains how their relationship started. And in District of Streets, it explains how everything is going on. So, and that's, I mean, it's basically kind of like my House of Cards. Like, I kind of got the idea from House of Cards. And just, and one of the people I kind of thought about was, man, I can't think of his name, but in Power, Lorenz Tate's character. It's kind of those kind of two things is what I base this book kind of off of, and kind of the direction I was going. Councilman Reed, that's what it is, Councilman Reed, and that's kind of like what I base it on. And so you'll kind of see how he got his start, and you know where his. So it's kind of District of Street is his origin story and how he got to where he was in this Crosspaths universe. Because a lot of things that I written as far as Crosspaths are pre Crosspaths, and so December 1st, 2026, I'm releasing. This will be the last Guardian Chronicles this year, and it's gonna be Apocalypse. So it is the third installment. It is right after The Darkness. So if you read Broken Halo, then The Darkness, Apocalypse, which I might be changing to Revelation. I'm not sure. I don't know what the title was going to be yet before then, but I'll know before December 1st, 2026. Because I rewrote it. So it was going to be Apocalypse, but I think I'm going to call it Revelations. So Guardian Chronicles Revelation is after The Darkness. And this is where there's going to be a part in Crosspaths 2 where at the end of Crosspaths 2, spoiler alert 2. So at the end of Crosspaths 2, Luke is going to be human human with minimum angelic powers, but mostly human at the end of the book. And there's a reason, because in the Retribution unit and in Apocalypse, not Apocalypse, but in The Darkness, you're going to find that he's locked up. And he's in angelic prison, basically. So he's going to show up at the end of Crosspaths 2, and a Revelation explains how he got to Crosspaths, and why he's human at this point. It doesn't explain what he's doing there, but it explains that he's there. But you won't find that out until 2027. I have written a lot. That's crazy. But that the Revelation kind of sets everything up on the angelic side going into 2027. Another spoiler. No, I'm not going to release a spoiler, but you're going to have to pay close attention to Marcus, Benjamin, or Ben, and Josie. Because there is it's a key part that plays, and something happens to all three of them going into 2027. And then December 24th, 2026, I introduced the Clarksville General intern. So I'm doing the own spinoff of Clarksville General, and doing basically a story about the 4 interns and their backstory. You hear some of their backstory in Clarksville General 2, The New Heartbeat, and that's why I call it The New Heartbeat, because they're pretty much going to be their dramas. The dramas for Clarksville General is going to basically be about those 4 characters, because I'm taking Maya out of it, I'm taking Renee out of it, and I'm going to do a story on Renee and her husband. And if you read Clarksville General, her husband has been there. His name is Elliot Waters. So Renee and Elliot, I'm going to do a spinoff on them in 2027. And Maya is going to have her thing going off in 2027. So I'm leaving Clarksville General to the interns, and that's why I called it the interns. But I might change it because yeah, I mean, we'll see. But I might change it. But like that's the wrap. Yeah, a couple of other things that I'm working on in 2027. Another origin story, like I said, and this is just a couple of things that I'm working on that I haven't included yet. Some of them I have written to explain, some of the origin stories going into 2027. In Lucille, you meet Storm. It's a possibility that I'm working on a Storm story. Basically, what happened to her while she was in foster care, and how she found out who Lucille was, and up to the day where she kind of meets up to Lucille in like Lucille 1. So that's kind of outlined. And if you read Cross Paths, they're the Franklin Street Soldiers. That's a funny story behind that name. If you know, you know. If you don't know. But I didn't want to put real gangs and stuff in there, so I came up with a gang, which there actually was a game. I'm not even going to say where they're from or, because I don't actually know nobody in the gang. I just heard of it one day, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. So when I started writing, I was like, okay, Franklin Street. But, hey, if any of you guys read it, hey, give me a shout out. But I was thinking about doing like how Zach and Dante got started with the Franklin Street Soldiers. There's a possible... there's possibly a story that I might write in fully about Luke. I don't want to give it away, but no, I can't get that one away. That's too much. That's too much. I can't get that one away. At the end of Cross Paths, you find out that Lucille goes to jail. So in Lucille 3, it'll be about her time in jail. I'm thinking about calling Lucille 3 Queen Pen. So, which she's actually in the pen, double entendre type of thing. Also 2027, we have the Jenkins Family 2 Family First. So that's kind of like where we at. I got a couple of other spinoffs and things I'm working on. But 2026 is finished. I'm actually working on the middle of 2027 going into 2028. And that's kind of like where it's at right now. Like, just been, to be honest, man, it's not even a lot of work. When you're doing something you like to do, it's just time consuming, and it's very so. It's a satisfaction that I get from writing. And if you really know me, I've been writing for years. Like, I remember being in school and handing out a sheet of paper and telling people like, hey, write what you want to be, and then writing a full-fed story to bring back the next day to give to people to write. I think it's always been a dream of mine to write books, and right now I'm living out my dreams. And if you are like an aspiring writer, and I'm telling you, I use Grammarly, like, to be honest, like, and Grammarly sucks sometimes. I'm not even gonna be, because Grammarly is like, it doesn't use Ebonics. I would just say that. So I tried other things too. I think Grammarly is the best for me. Like, you might have to find something that's best for you. And I release on Kindle Direct Publishing, and when I say it's easy, it's easy. If you have any questions, like, man, DM me for real. Like, I would answer any questions that you may have as far as like you want to start off writing or anything. And I mean, if even like just collab work or anything, just let me know. Yeah, it's not that hard. It's work though, but it's not hard at all. But like always, like, man, that was the rundown. I didn't mean for it to be that long. It's actually 2 parts. I actually meant for it to be 1 part, but then I started explaining everything, and then it just goes in. Check out my podcast too, where I'm breaking down just like real life situations and things like that I got from Cross Paths and, breaking down characters. I'll put everything in the descriptions. But man, I appreciate everybody for all the support. I'm just on here having fun. The writing part was the hardest part. Me just coming on here talking and just me being me. So, but I appreciate everybody, all the support, all the feedback has been amazing. I think to put energy into something and to put it out there, to be vulnerable for people to read and then critique something you feel good about. And when I say like I've gotten great feedback, man, I can't explain it. Like it's worth everything I did last year. All the hard work put into it, all the time away from my family, my wife, just being locked in a room for 8 to 9 hours sometimes, like because you want to get ideas out is something. And I have the best support system, so I can't even, man, to have the support I have, I wouldn't be able to do this. I'm 100%. I wouldn't been able to write as much as I did to have this level of work done in a year. It couldn't have been done without the support I have. So I'm very, very appreciative of the support I had in writing it and the support of just purchases. Like the sales have been really good, and I man, I go and look and I'll be like, man, and I can't see who's buying it, but when I go on there and it's like, wow, like somebody else, bought that or somebody else got that, or then I get like a DM from someone like, hey, when the next book coming out. And there are some people that have books that are not out yet. So if you're purchasing and we build some level of relationship, I'll say some stuff. And then on Wattpad, I have another not app but another social media platform that I own. I released like the first chapters on Wattpad, and Wattpad is kind of like what gave me the itch back a little bit too, because I was doing short stories on Wattpad, and then I was like, all right, you got to be a little more serious, and then I created another profile, and but I was under like another, like, hey, I'll tell you, when you're kind of in a space where critique and judgment puts a little bit of fear in you. So I was writing under a different name, and it was doing pretty good. So I was like, all right, let's put me out there. And so I started another Wattpad, and it's doing pretty good also, and write some short stories under there, and I can get some feedback and critique. And the writing community is bigger than what I thought it was. Like with the way everything is going and how things are going, I didn't think the writing world was big as it was when I was younger. But man, there are people that are still writing, and there are still people that are selling books, and there is, some of the biggest movies on was it Lifetime comes from books that were on Amazon. So like if you really want to get into writing and don't see there's money in it, you're wrong. You just gotta look. You're looking in the wrong places. So like I said, man, I appreciate you staying on and everybody staying with me. And like I always say at the end of all my videos, stay blessed, say less, let God do the rest. Peace.